Yeah, got practice at 11 tomorrow. 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 11 tomorrow. Tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll be able to get it in. Supposedly some weather, but we do all our stuff pretty early, so I believe we'll be able to get it in tomorrow. We'll be just fine. But getting better every day, every practice. Kids working hard. We're getting better. I love this time of spring because the first couple of weeks, it's all about the energy and the effort, and everybody's really excited and fired up. And now all of a sudden you get some a little bit of bumps and bruises, and then you're also doing the same drills over and over and over. And we talk constantly about, you have to have a great capacity for boredom because we're going to do the same things and the same fundamentals and harp on those all the time. And now you really get into those dog days where those guys have got to be locked in, and as a coach, you have to be locked in, and you're not just running drills, you're coaching drills, and all of those things. So this is probably my favorite time of the spring ball segment when you get to these latter parts of practice, and the juice isn't there as much. Because I think you get a really good idea of what type of football team you have when you get into these type of days. So a lot of stuff going on, though. We've got a big last week. Saturday we'll scrimmage a little bit, and then have a big last week planned for the guys as far as that last spring scrimmage, the 27th. Got a lot of things going on that day. And just a lot of cool things here at the stadium, and from a fan experience standpoint that are going on. And then this weekend, this Saturday, we'll scrimmage, and then we'll do a little Easter egg hunt with the boys. You got Easter Sunday, so we're going to do a little Easter egg hunt with the boys, have a little bit of fun. But a lot of stuff going on. But like I said, just proud of the guys. They're getting better every day, competing every day.
After Saturday's practice, you got a chance to look at film and
Yep.
things you saw good or bad in the film that you didn't really see on Saturday?
Yeah, it's never as bad as you think, and never as good as you think, and so there were some things offensively that I thought that we didn't do so well on the field. You just have that gut feeling, and a lot of times you see one play, and that tends to kind of overwhelm your day, and that's all you think about the rest of the day. So then you come out of that going, man, we weren't very good in this situation, and you look back on it and go, well, we weren't so bad, after all. But the biggest thing overall from last Saturday to the previous Saturday was just we made a huge emphasis going into Saturday of making sure that we don't get beat by busts, because I sat in everybody's position meetings that week leading up to that Saturday, and I'm hearing the same things over and over, the same coaching points and the same bust, this alignment, this assignment, this, you need to press this and see the signal and all of these things. So that was the biggest emphasis we made going into Saturday, and that's probably the overall number one thing was we were very, very efficient on both sides of the ball as far as our alignments and assignments. So that was ultimately the biggest thing I was proud of.
When you're talking about, and I know we're not going to get a chance to really talk to you next week, talking about the spring football game
Mhm.
Saturday, obviously a lot of fun involved, but what are going to be some of the things that you're specifically looking for going into that spring football game?
Well, I've kind of changed that deal because, I had an epiphany one day and just realized, hey, you only get 15 practices during the spring. And in the past, I've kind of taken that last day and we made it a really fun deal. A lot of years it was probably more of a circus than it was anything. We'd have we've had sumo suit guys out there wrestling. We've thrown passes to students here on campus and all that, and that's all cool. But we also only get so much time with these guys and so many practices, and so we've kind of changed our thought process on spring. Saturday the 27th for us will just be it's going to be a practice. It's going to be a normal practice. We're going to have certain periods of Indy, lead that into Skelly, and then get a lot of drives and a lot of last evaluation reps for our guys. So from that standpoint, we're going to get a lot of reps that day, good evaluation reps, because it's going to be our 15th day. It's going to be our last chance to get those reps with those guys. Now, off the field, though, we've got an awful lot going on with just some certain things we're going to do. We've got a lot going on that day here on campus as far as Baseball, I think, plays at 1. Then we get on the field at 3:45. You got a concert that night. So we're inviting all the students to come over and kind of use that as a tailgate for that concert, if you will, and some food options and just a lot of fun off the field for that day. But ultimately, that means nothing to us. We got a lot of work that we need to get done on that day from a football team standpoint.
You talk about that work. Is that because you mentioned this before, but just how deep your team has been?
Yeah.
Guys here?
Yeah, a little bit, especially at certain positions, like the defensive line is probably the defensive line and the linebackers right now. They're probably our deepest 2 positions. So we've got a lot of guys that we need to see the max amount of reps we can on those guys and make decisions of who's up, who's down, who's over here. Do we have him in the right spot? Making sure, because again, we don't get much time. When we get into fall camp, we don't get much time with them again. A lot of it is that depth and trying to get. The only way you get better and the only way you develop is by repetition, and we want to get as many repetitions as we can with each guy.
With the bulk of those red shirts that you have this year, how does it compare to year 1 in terms of the number of red shirts and their impact that you see on this coming season?
It's 2 completely different sides of the spectrum. You and I have talked about it before. The first year I was head coach, I remember old Coach Adams come up to. We played Austin P one day, and for whatever reason, he's a weird cat anyway. But he comes up to me after the game, and goes, "You realize we had 43 scholarship players going into this week and on the team? Just 43 of 63 possible. We only had 43, we just." I think that the staff over the years has done a tremendous job of just building the roster, and it took some time now because we had a systematic approach to the way we wanted to do it, so it's night and day. From year 1 to year 4, the roster is completely different, night and day.
I know spring is a time where you can really kind of bring out the Swiss Army knife, and especially with guys in particular that can flip on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody in particular over the last 2 or 3 weeks that you guys have kind of tried to play both ways?
Not really both ways. We've got some guys that can, and some guys that always joke they want to. Everybody wants to be a running back, for whatever reason. Everybody wants to be a running back. Now we have had some guys, like Jared McCray, who has flipped from running back to wide receiver back and forth. He is a Swiss Army knife guy. Due to a bump or a bruise, now all of a sudden he's got to go play wide out this day, and now this guy's back, so let's put him back at running back again. So we've kind of done it compartmentally on either side of the ball, and some guys who we may have moved from linebacker back to safety or vice versa, some things like that. But we really haven't cross-trained as far as O&D. Other than maybe at the end of the practice, we do what we call 1%ers, and it's just something afterwards to get yourself 1% better, to ensure that you did something today to get yourself 1% better. And we've taken some guys there, and maybe a DB, and we've run a route with him and thrown to him, maybe a receiver to watch him in his pedal, and some things like that. But nothing too drastic. Again, we want to make sure that we're developing these guys, and the only way to do that is to get them repetitions. And anytime you start splitting reps, and sometimes you have to, but anytime you start splitting reps and dividing reps, you're not getting as good at this one thing. So we want to try to put those guys in their place and get them really, really good at that place.
Any injury updates, Gator names, good or bad?
I think our wideouts, we're getting those guys back. We were really we had to slow the pace down a lot Saturday because we had 9 wideouts on loan that were on the injury report. Again, some soft tissue stuff, some bumps and bruises. So we're starting to get a lot of those guys back. Some of them, though, are still, maybe they do skelly, but they don't do team. Maybe it's a volume thing, so many reps. But for the most part, knock on wood, we're good. We're good.
You've seen 2 wideouts. Wanted to parlay off that. Guys like Jordan Gandy, Walter Powell, that really consumed a lot of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Took up a lot of catches. They were possession guys.
Yeah.
At what point did you want to institute an offense where the wide receivers became like a hockey line, where you're running 5 guys and 5 and 5 again? When did that change?
Never. It's always been like that. The object of the offense has always been that, to try to get, our main goal on offense is to get the guys who can score the ball in space. And that's what we tell our quarterbacks, man. Throw short, run long, get it to your guys who are playmakers in space, and let them go make it happen. Some particular years, like with Walter Powell, he was just he was one of the best receivers in this league, and still one of the best receivers who's come through this league in quite some time. So he just kind of took over. I think when Gandy kind of emerged, I think that was one of those years where he was just the elder in the group, and then you had a lot of guys who were kind of new, were still trying to fill it out, figure it out, fill out where their place was. But the overall objective for the offense has always been, hey, let's try to make the defense cover 53 in the third. Let's get it to a lot of people. And I think, the thing about our wide receiver spot is obviously we've got some good depth there, but it's also some old depth. Guys like Moss and Rajay, Tyree, some of these guys, Dede, some of these guys, Sylvan Turner. I'll miss somebody, Sappington, some of these guys who've been around the program for a long time. And that's a big deal for that quarterback. He's a little more comfortable with them, knows where they're all going to be, as opposed to just having his guy. It wasn't something that just kind of clicked as far as a philosophical standpoint. That's always been the same. It's just kind of a culmination of a lot of things with your roster and the people that you got out there.